Welcome back to the Sherwood Urban Farm, and in today's video we are going to be in my lounge and we are going to discuss some gardening books. So over the years I've collected some books and I've really just narrowed it down to two books which I would often refer to. Nowadays we mainly also just go online and find things if we've got questions or whatever. So the books that I always referred to were Bob Flowerdew's, this is very old, The Organic Garden. And this is great. I really enjoyed this book. As you can see, I used it a lot. It's well read. I've got all my little post-its in it and that. But I found a lot of his stuff was sort of very specific to the UK, and also I found that he it was probably just a little bit dated, and it was also not a no-dig book. I think that was probably the biggest thing. He didn't do a practice no-dig. So I still, every now and then, I will still refer to that book. And then the A to Z vegetable gardening in South Africa. So this gentleman, he's passed away long ago, but he it's not at all organic. This is not at all an organic gardening book, but it is still useful if you live in South Africa, and it has a really useful sowing and planting guide, and then it's got a gardening diary, and I would use some of the things in this book because he lists almost all the vegetables known to mankind, but he often will, like if there's any kind of pest pressure, then he will refer to all the different kinds of chemicals you can spray on your vegetables in your back garden. And he also very much encourages fertilizer. I think it was just the era that he came out of, and that was just how everybody gardened at the time. And then over lockdown, I came across Charles Dowding, and I was searching for pretty UK gardens or something like the vegetable garden, beautiful vegetable gardens in the UK, something to that effect. And then I came across his channel, and I was just so amazed at how simple it was, and his methods are so easy, and there's no digging involved, there's no special tools. A lot of the market gardeners in the United States and elsewhere, you have to have all these kind of little hand tillers and all these kind of things. And I mean, here he is, he's market gardening, he's successful, and he hardly has any tools. And a lot of the stuff he was doing, I was doing anyways. And he does offer a couple of courses, online courses, but they're quite pricey. From when you look from pounds to rands, then it just gets quite pricey. And at the end of last year, so what he also did was he has a book of his first course, the module 1, he has now put into book form. But I didn't want to get that book because it's sort of the basics of no-dig gardening, and I feel like I've kind of got that under the belt. So I don't need, I didn't want to do the module 1. And as far as I know, he hasn't published a book on his module 2, but he has a number of books that he has published. At the end of last year, Charles was promoting his latest book, Charles Dowding's Skills for Growing. And I got so excited because that should have covered everything that I wanted to know. And as it turned out, my friend's sister was coming to visit South Africa in the beginning of this year. And so I purchased the book, had it sent to her house in the UK, and she brought it over for me a few weeks ago. So now I have it. I am so excited to own this book. And what is so cool is he signed it as well. So if you have any ways of getting this book, I would highly recommend it. It's got all the skills that you need for growing. It starts off with, if I look here in the index, he starts with tips for good growing, skills and knowledge, and for all year round. And then he does a couple of chapters on seeds, sowing and planting. The two chapters that I found most useful in this book is the how and why of spacing, and when and how to water and how much. Now, the spacing one is how to space your plants in the most efficient way so that you're still getting good harvest, but using the most, getting the best out of the space that you have. And then with the watering, I don't know about you guys, but I often struggle with watering. At the moment, we're in a drought, and then I will water, and I think, now this is the best, I'm now really watering well, and then I look, and then it's almost bone dry. Anyways, but so this is really useful. And he encourages hand watering if you've got a small enough garden, like I think mine is small enough, so that you can see what's going on with your plants. And I've often found pests on the plants which I wouldn't normally have seen because they may be hiding underneath the leaves, or I can spot on my cabbage or on my kale when the leaves are starting to curl up. Okay, there's some aphids there, and then I can sort it out while I'm busy watering. So that to me is great. The only problem with this book is that he is in the UK. So some of the things are not applicable for us. So we don't have snow. Here in our area, we don't have frost. And then also obviously the growing guide, which I find that is such a pity because he has such a nice planting and even harvesting guide, and it's in a table format, which is so useful. But for that, then I will use a website called organicseed.co.za, and then you can actually put in where you live, and then it will tell you in which month you should plant what. And that is great. Or I will go back to my good old, the A to Z of vegetable gardening in South Africa, and actually use his growing guide at the back here, where his planting and sowing guide. It is really such value for money. I can see myself picking this book up in 20 years from now and still referring to it. So that's all I have to say about gardening books for today. It is really useful. I mean, you can always go online and find a lot of information, but there's just something about sitting in bed at night. It's great bedtime reading and paging through and just looking at all these beautiful pictures. I mean, his book has got like close-up photos of all his seeds and his seedlings, and it's even got a chapter on how to save seed, how he arranges, he plans his beds out. It's really, really great. And what's so cool is that he has little references to his YouTube videos. So that's another great thing about this book. Anyways, I hope you found this video informative, and do go and have a look at Charles Dowding's channel if you haven't already subscribed, because he is a man with a wealth of knowledge, over 30 years of gardening. So there's always something to learn. I don't believe anybody has arrived on the subject of anything actually, but specifically with gardening, there's always something new to learn. So I hope you enjoyed that and enjoy the rest of your day.